Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents, and welcome back to another edition of Dirt Freaking Cheap Fragrances. This name just doesn't really have a good ring to it. DFCF, Dirt Freaking Cheap Fragrances. I'm never gonna make it. It's time to give up. So yeah, we're talking about another cheapie today. This one you can pick up for the low price of $23, which is exactly what I paid for it from JOMASHOP. The fragrance, as you can see, is this one right here, a Theoreme Matrix from Rue Broca. It's cool because it's not Elixir, it's not Absolu, it's Matrix. Whether we're talking about Matrix with like Neo and all that stuff, or John Matrix from the 80s classic Commando, is up to you. It can be whatever Matrix you want it to be. So this one apparently came out in 2024, and I was just sitting around with my thumb up my butt and had no idea until I was shopping for fragrances, and I saw this listed as a new arrival, and I was like, oh, what is that? And then I started looking into it, and it was like, this came out last year? Cool. So I had to go ahead and scoop it up, and here we are today talking about it. I'll have it linked in the description below. Feel free to check it out down there. First though, let's take a look at this presentation. I caught it the correct way. I'm proud of myself. So you have here on the front the name of the fragrance, name of the house, size, and concentration. It is a 90 ml size eau de parfum concentration. Actually has a kind of cool design on there as well. You have the name of the house on top of the box. On the back, you have your badge code, your barcode, your ingredients, your caution, all of that info. And as you can see down in the corner, Rue Broca, manufactured by Afnan Perfumes. So much like Maison Alhambra, it is associated with Lattafa, French Avenue with Fragrance World. So is Rue Broca with Afnan. The box opens up like so, and then your bottle sits down in here. That is not a foam cutout, it is a fuzzy plastic cutout. For the price though, 23 bucks, the presentation is nice. The box is solid, it feels good, it looks good. And here's the bottle, looks really similar to the original Theoreme. You have the name of the fragrance, name of the house right there on the front. This one done in a darker overall scheme, both from the cap to the glass to the little divider in the middle, which by the way is a fingerprint magnet. On the top of the cap, you have the name of the house. On the bottom, you have a sticker. The cap does click into place. Let's go ahead and share a couple sprays. Tester strip, atomizer, okay. Not bad. Not amazing, but not bad. What would that be? I guess that would be average. So the original Theoreme is really well known for being an affordable clone of Bulgari's Tiger. And that one was actually a huge sleeper for a while, because before people really started to figure out how good that one was, you could pick it up for pretty much the price of this one. Low 20s, right at, sometimes just below. So the question is Matrix going to be on the level of Theoreme, or is this one a little bit worse? Just talking about overall quality. Now, as I said, it's linked in the description below. I bought mine from JOMASHOP along with a whole bunch of other things. And in doing so, I did use one of my own codes, which you see here. So you can use these codes in the JOMASHOP app to save yourself a little bit of money if you're shopping there. It is kind of annoying that you can't just use it directly on the website. Essentially what I do and what I did is I look on the website and then I find what I want, add it to my cart, then I pull up the app and basically just re-add everything from the cart on the computer to the app and then put the code in. Is that like the most boomer style of doing it? Possibly, yeah, but that's what I do. Shout out to the boomers. And then there are a bunch of other codes you can use across other websites like FragFlex, Gift Express, and more. So use those codes if you want to save yourself some money when you're shopping for frags. All right, so what's the deal with Theoreme Matrix? How does it smell? Is it any good? Well, in case you were not aware for some reason up until this point, this one is a clone of Creed's Absolu Aventus. And interestingly enough, Afnan already has a clone of Absolu Aventus. This one right here, Supremacy Collector's Edition. So we'll talk a little bit about how this one smells on its own, and then also the differences between this and this, and whether or not it's worth scooping this one up over this one or vice versa. So how does Theoreme Matrix open up? Well, this one opens up really fresh, bright, juicy, a little bit airy. So it's fresh, fizzy, immediately likable. You've got a great mix of citrus and pineapple as soon as you spray it on. And it's also decently smooth as well. So you've got that bergamot, grapefruit, pineapple coming through with fizziness, but then it doesn't come across, overly sharp. It's not bitter. It doesn't have that kind of chemical edge that some Aventus style clones can have when you first spray them on. You know what I'm talking about. There's blackcurrant in here as well, of course, which is gonna tie it right in with Aventus and Absolu Aventus. Gives a little bit of tartness, adds some extra depth to the scent in the opening. It just gives it that extra lift, you know, that contrast. That way it's not just all fresh, all sweet. You gotta have a little tartness in there as well, like Sour Patch Kids. Sour than sweet. After about 5 minutes, that sparkling aspect of the citrus starts to dial back just a little bit. You get this subtle kind of sweetness that creeps in, and that subtle sweetness lasts pretty much the entirety of the fragrance. So at first, really lively, very jumpy, very effervescent, sparkling, and then it starts to settle in just a little bit. Almost like you pour a soda or something into a cup. At first, you know, it's really bubbly, and then as it starts to settle down, it still has a little bit of that carbonation, that sweetness. It's just not quite as jumpy. That's kind of how this one is. The lavender and the jasmine start to peek through, and then you start to get that woodiness underneath as the fragrance dries down. There's also oak moss in here. It doesn't come across overly earthy. You know, it's kind of been scrubbed clean a little bit, a lot like Absolu Aventus, but it does give you that faint, green, earthy character. You know, it's not overtly earthy or anything like that. It just kind of lays there underneath the woods. The cedar and the patchouli in here are noticeable, but they're restrained, so it doesn't make the fragrance come across overly heavy or cloying. And what keeps the mid interesting is this fresh spiciness that starts to come through. So it helps keep everything lively. It gives a little bit more of that brightness as you head through the mid instead of just having it, you know, sink down and get real heavy. And as I said about that sweetness, it's subtly there, and you'll be kind of moving around and then you'll catch a little hit of it and you'll be like, oh, that was kind of sweet. And then it kind of mellows out again. You'll catch another hit of it, and that's just kind of how the fragrance wears. You get more of that woodiness that comes out as the fragrance dries down. So the longer it's on your skin, the more woodsy it's going to get. You're still gonna have little bits of that fresh spice kind of popping through, the lavender coming through a little bit, the jasmine as well. And you have like just remembrances of the fruit from the opening once you hit the far dry down. Just little remnants of that citrus kind of humming along in the background. You know, it's just adding that tiny little bit of sweetness underneath everything that keeps it very wearable, keeps it versatile. Now, obviously this one here is done by the same people that did this one. Now, price-wise, there is a pretty big difference. Like I said, this one, $23. If you use a discount code, you can get it down a little bit less, but we're just gonna say 23. As time goes, maybe it stays there, maybe it dips down a couple bucks more, but still, we're talking low 20s for the price of this one. For Supremacy Collector's Edition over here, as of this video, it's more around 45 or so. At least at JOMASHOP, around 45, maybe a few bucks less, but I'm using that price point here because it's the same store, so it's kind of, you know, apples to apples. There are maybe some other places online that you could find this one for a little bit less. Same thing for this. As time goes on and this kind of hits more stores, I would imagine it'll be a little easier to find for slightly less as well. But again, just kind of keeping it apples to apples, this one is roughly 2 times the cost of Theorem Matrix. A little bit less than that, but again, just kind of dumbing it down, right? So that's the price difference here. The price difference between this and Absolu Aventus is a chasm. It is huge. Absolu Aventus at full retail, $610 for a 100 ml size bottle. So this is like 5%-ish the cost of Absolu Aventus. Now, you can find Absolu Aventus at discounters, of course, but it's still going to be hundreds of dollars. Depending on the size, it's probably ranging somewhere between like, what, 300, 350, up over 450, depending on where you're shopping, and again, the size, whether it's a tester, all that stuff. And make no mistake, this is a fantastic Absolu Aventus clone, and when you factor in the price, it's even better. But how does it compare to Collector's Edition? Well, between the two, I would say that Theorem Matrix is the fresher take on Absolu Aventus. Collector's Edition, especially side by side, is gonna be a bit heavier. It's gonna have more density to it. This one, Theorem Matrix, comes across, like I said earlier, airier, more zingy. Collector's Edition, slightly more green, you know, a little bit denser with the woodiness, the way that it comes across. And definitely between these two fragrances, Collector's Edition is the stronger scent. This one is gonna project more, it's gonna last a little longer. But Theorem Matrix is not weak. It actually has above average longevity. It's solid. Gets the job done, but the projection is definitely lesser here than here. So Collector's Edition, strong, powerful, you know, really, really bold with how it projects. This one more slightly above average. So if you're looking for a brighter, fresher, more effervescent take on Absolu Aventus that still has nice depth and nice subtle sweetness, extreme complement factor, all of that stuff, the versatility, this one will get that done. But if you're wanting the strongest of them, you're wanting the one that has more heft to it, that's gonna be this one. That being said, like right now, middle of summer, really, really hot outside between these two, I'm wearing this one and it's not close. And that's not the fault of this fragrance. It's just, if you were looking for an Absolu Aventus style fragrance to wear like now, this is probably one of the best ones you could get. So if you're wanting fall, winter, daytime or evening, this one. If you're looking more spring, summer, daytime or evening, this one. That's kind of how they split. And they've kind of done this again, obviously intentionally, but where the original theorem was the cheaper alternative to Bulgari Tiger, and then Tarothi Blue was like the slightly more expensive, heavier alternative to Bulgari Tiger, at least in terms of performance. They've done that here. So you could think of this basically along the same terms, and you're not far off. This is the higher end, heavier Absolu Aventus. This is the more affordable, fresher Absolu Aventus. So as it stands today, right this minute as I shoot this video, this is a great little hidden gem. Under 25 bucks, smells really similar to Absolu Aventus. The quality is good. You don't have to wait for it to mature. It smells good right out of the box. Nice freshness in the opening, really attention grabbing. Performance a little bit under collector's edition, but still not terrible. And like Absolu Aventus, that type of scent that you can use in just about any situation, and you can pick it up for just a tiny touch over 20 bucks. That's pretty much everything you could possibly ask for in that kind of bargain bin price point for cologne fragrances. This stuff is great. So there we go, guys. Theorem Matrix, a successful blind buy. I think I picked up 8 or 9 different clones this time from a bunch of different brands. So we'll see if the other ones are any good. If you've ever shopped with JOMASHOP, you know what I'm gonna tell you is how it is. But I'm getting like 6 different packages for that one order. It's like they're shipping them out 1 or 2 at a time. And to me, I'm like, how can this be profitable? Because you're paying for shipping like 6 times to deliver the order to me, because they ship it out like as they get it in stock, which that's cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I'd rather get this stuff earlier and then the things that they don't have, you know, get that later on, right? That way I'm not just waiting for however long for the last thing for them to get to ship. But I'm like, guys, this does not seem efficient. I feel like it would be maybe a better idea to, you know, put things for sale when they can actually ship them within a reasonable time frame so that they're only shipping once. And then with all that money they're gonna save with, you know, shipping costs, they can lower the prices on stuff, so it's an even better deal. I mean, call me crazy, but I feel like, you know, paying for 6 packages to come to my house for 1 order, I would have rather them had the things actually in stock, shipped it in 1 package, and then I get 5 packages worth of shipment cost removed from my order, if that makes sense. Okay, enough of that. I'm gonna roll. Thank you guys for hanging with me here today. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.